All right, it's HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated. It's the podcast, y'all. Good morning. Kyle T. Mosley here with Coach Daryl Steward. What's going on, Cole?
Good morning, Mr. Mosley. Countdown to kickoff, man. I'm ready. I'm excited, baby. Let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, look, HBCU football is here today. Matter of fact, Delaware State played late last night, right? So, yeah, it is here right now, and we're going to talk about the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Also, we had I had a good interview with Stephen Gaither of HBCU Game Day, as well as Jay Walker, who's also going to be on the call for the MEAC SWAC Challenge with Tiffany Green. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as Coach got some things on his mind. Don't forget, go to hbculegends.net. Check out all of our articles online, and you can also go to HBCU Legends on all the sports social media platforms and check us out and follow us. But also give us some love on YouTube, man. We're trying to grow the channel, and we need only, 100 more subscribers to hit us over that 1,000 plateau. So thank you for that as well. All right, Cole, let's talk about it. The MEAC SWAC Challenge is coming. HBCU football is here. But before we get into that game and previewing that game, how do you feel about what's going on in the landscape of HBCU sports right now?
I think we're 70% of where we need to be. We got a lot of things that's going on, of course, financially, that we need to get over the hump and get a lot of our personnel into place. I don't like starting off the season where a lot of athletic departments are not fully staffed, and we need to correct that as a whole. And but overall, I think we're 70% ready to go, and let's hope that we can correct our mistakes and have a great year, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of. I hate to keep harping on mistakes because there are a lot of positive things that also go on in HBCU sports, and we can always give our opinions here and give our opinions there. But the most important thing is the student athlete and how they've been progressing, and they've been doing very well out there in the world, man. And we have to give those young people some credit for what they've done. One young man that we need to really give some credit to, he's been pinged and listed as the king of NILs. And he's right there in HBCU, Virginia State. He used to be with Norfolk State at one time. That's Mr. Rayquan Smith, the running back from Virginia State. He was listed just recently with Forbes as the 30 under 30, meaning he's one of the 30 young people to look at under the age of 30 right now in the business sense, because he's garnered, I think, over $1 million in NIL deals, man.
Wow.
Think about that, Coach.
Yeah.
Now, if this young man can do over $1 million in NIL deals by himself, and he's not a household name,
right?
Why can't our programs do it?
That's a great question, Kyle. Let's just hope, in week one we see a great product, but, fans are harping and people are harping and saying, if you don't see that, it's because of the NIL. The NIL landscape is big right now. You see these high schools are in it. And, I don't know what's the process or what Commissioner McCullen is going to do about it towards our athletic directors. But clearly, there's something wrong there with our athletic directors and our NIL departments. We need to get on the same page with everybody else, and we need to see more NIL deals.
Yeah, I mean, since they lifted the ban and have gotten the NILs as a part of the college landscape right now, we have to be able to integrate that well. I mean, anytime you can talk about one HBCU player, and we've always said, hey, what's going on? Why HBCUs are not getting more NIL deals? What's happening? What's happening? Well, look, we talk about a kid, Rayquan. I apologize. I called him Rayquan. It's Rayquan Smith. Anytime this young kid has 5-figure deals and they call him the king of NILs, if he can get that name, image, likeness deal, why can't we set ourselves up in these departments to have better deals all around? So those are just some of the things that I was like, wow, this is very, very interesting. And get this, he's also launched what's called the Sponsor Pro, where he's going to digitally be like a matchmaker for athletes who want to partner with brands. Smart, isn't that? That's just smart.
Well, Kyle, do you think, because when you look at NIL, you're not talking about small money anymore. You got to know he's in a different part of the world. You know, if you ever been to Virginia, the DMV up there, Maryland, all of that's close together. You're around a lot of corporate sponsors. Do you think that has a play in part of it? Because let's just face it, Kyle, and be realistic. The South is ran different, and that's why I say, as a head coach in the not just HBCUs, I do know in the SEC they work well with their politicians as well. I mean, to get this major money, HBCU head coaches and presidents are going to have to get their political people involved. If not, you'll never get into that big money landscape because, let's face it, they make a lot of the big money decisions.
Yeah, I'm not dispelling any of that, man. You're right. But I have to say this, Coach. We can't be regionalized in our mindset. It's just like when a lot of people say, hey, we can't make that big money like national guys. Why can't you? If you think small, you're going to get small returns.
Yeah.
And because if I look at the fourth largest city in the United States here in the Houston area, Texas Southern and Prairie View should be dominating in NILs. We're talking about major money. Oil and gas, services, everything, hospitality. You run the gamut of big money that's flowing through the Houston area left and right. So NIL deals should be plentiful, in my opinion, when you come to the Houston area.
Yeah, I mean, it should be, but, you know, the wealth gap, you know, I mean, the wealth gap is strange, Kyle. You know, you get there, you say the money is there, but it's the political part plays a big part. And that's what that's my experience of it, you know, and it's always a red tape when you get to a certain point. Then you have to get over the red tape. And so, and that's in certain areas. I'm coming, exploring other cities. I know Florida is different. I know Texas is different. I mean, other cities and states are coming up with their own laws. And so it's different everywhere. It may be a more lenient in the Virginia area, but clearly it's different down south. I will say that.
Okay. So Southern University is a brand.
A great brand.
Grambling is a great brand.
Right.
Southern schools, Why are they just limited to just Southern money? That's what I was saying. It shouldn't just be limited to Southern money. If you have a brand that could be able to penetrate other genres as well as other demographics. So,
Right. Well, one reason is your turnover rate. The brands are there, but you have to have people that know how to elevate the brands.
Very good. Yes.
You gotta have people that want to know how, and then to elevate a brand. Now you look at these marketing directors. You're not gonna get a college marketing director for $50,000 or $60,000. You're just not gonna do that. It's hard to find that, to get the return on your investment. People know the market value now. Education is different now. You're gonna have to pay people what the market value says. And this new generation is, I had to say it, Kyle, they're smart about that. I was in a meeting the other day. Well, certain states, I will say this, certain states have adapted to the new market value. As you can see, the NFL, the NBA, all these different organizations are adapting to the market value. Whereas you get down to, I want to say, the smaller organizations, well, we're not. And that's where you see the gap. And so American citizens, people with education, they're going to interviews now, and it's easy to say, well, what does the market value say I have to pay a Kyle T. Mosley? You see what I'm saying? And so that's where we're kind of having our problems at now. The market values are big now in the other conferences. We just lost the athletic director at UNO, which was a great school, great institution. But the market value at Memphis was a little bit bigger. And so that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's these educated people now, Kyle, they're really smart, and they're going into these interviews based off their credentials and their market value, and they're going to go to the highest bidder.
By the way, that's $1 million for a coach. His market value is rising every week now. I just want to let you know he just hung me out for a bill.
I appreciate you for that. Yours, looking at what Stephen A. got and looking at what Shannon Sharp got, yours is clearly over the 50 million mark. So
look, if our HBCU brothers got that much money, we got to get some too, there, Cole.
I appreciate that, my friend.
All right, I just want to put a plug out there for my boy. Look, Hawaii and Delaware State. All right, so that's going to be going on later tonight, and that's going to take place at, I think they say midnight, matter of fact. So check this out, Cole. Delaware State, we know the Hornets had a tough year last year, man, very tough year. I think they were, 1-10? If I'm not mistaken. The program over the past several years hasn't really competed well. All right. I think that's a safe word to use, right, for the MEAC. They haven't really been in contention. And we're talking about a program that once was a really well-respected program. So I don't know if most people have heard, but en route to getting to the airport, Delaware State had a bus fiasco, and people were like, "What's a bus fiasco?" Well, the chartered bus had problems, and it was I think they said it was 3 hours late, if I'm not mistaken. And once they got to JFK Airport, of course, it was too late for these young men to get processed and boarded in time, so they had to reschedule their flight to go all the way. This is a 10.5-hour flight to go all the way to Hawaii to play the Rainbow Warriors in this first game. Coach, I know some things you can't forecast a breakdown in a vehicle or whatever, because I know that firsthand. But this became national news, man. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, when you're going out the country and you're taking a long flight like that, I mean, you have to, what we call as athletic directors, pre-plan. Kind of like, the day before they should have, how are we going to, go on the bus, went over the procedures, the agenda. I don't know if they did that, but clearly you would have found this mistake if the bus would have did a route or, just seeing if everything's okay before we get on. Because you're taking a major trip.
Well, it wasn't their fault. It was the bus company's fault. That's
what I'm saying. The bus company as well. Sometimes when you see flights and charter flights, they always take that, pre-flight before, especially on long flights, before they take off, and clearly the bus company owes the university an apology or maybe a free ride because it was embarrassing, not only to the university, but to the bus company as well. I'm sure if they're going to contract with this company, clearly that they can settle on some type of agreement.
Yeah. It would have caused a major issue for a small program like Delaware State, which Hawaii was paying them, I think, up to $750,000 to play in this game.
Wow.
And I think that was one of the major reasons why this was an important game for the Hornets to be in Hawaii and play. So they missed their flight, but good thing they were able to salvage everything. It did cost, I think, it did cost a little bit to make the changes or whatever, but I take that back, guys. It's not 700. That wasn't 700,000. Coach, it's only $180,000 they were paying them to play in this game.
Wow.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Doesn't it cost just about that much for a team to get a chartered flight?
Yeah, it's go.
To Hawaii?
Yeah, that's clearly a bad deal. I don't know who the athletic director is there, but clearly, that's a bad deal. I'm sure they could have got more in the States, but, hey.
Now, Hawaii was covering their trip per player, I think up to $1,400 per player on the trip, as well as including the lodging and transportation to and from, practice fields, facilities, as well as the stadiums. But golly, if Delaware State missed the flight and couldn't even get there, then they would have to be forced to pay $750,000. That's what's going on. Oh man! So if there was a cancellation, forfeiture, or non-appearance, they would have been holding the bag, really, to Hawaii, and that would have been more devastating than anything else, man. But $180,000 to go across the country, really, you're flying over the main continent to get to Hawaii, and only for $180,000. That's shocking to me. But anyway, that's what it is, guys. We're gonna take a quick let's keep going on, Coach. We'll take a break in a few more minutes. But this, all in all, brings up a point I was having with Stephen Gaither from HBCU Game Day. Are we still obligated as HBCUs to get these check days, these money games, and playing these money games?
Well, if you ever been to Delaware State, it's kind of rural. They need the funding, and they definitely need more than $180,000. But it kind of goes back to the negotiation part of our athletic directors is clearly definitely a weakness. We at some of them, at some of the schools, we don't get the mega deals, and apparently, I don't want to say they don't know how, but clearly it's some type of confusion on getting the mega deals at our HBCUs, whether we need to hire some type of a firm to come in and negotiate the deals, which is going to cost more money. And so I've said it, the commissioner needs to do a retreat on how to get these deals, maybe call athletic directors in over the summer and teach them, if you don't know, you got to ask, Kyle. And they're in high profile positions where they got to know these things to be productive as an athletic director.
Very interesting, Coach, and it's bewildering a lot of times. So we'll see how this goes going forward, man. I just think, all in all, when we look at these money days, check that's going to be cashed, so to speak. I know this season, Prairie View goes up to Michigan State to play. And that's a big game. Last year, LSU had Grambling, and the year before that, LSU had Southern, right? So playing FBS schools hasn't been a new thing that's just cropped up, guys. It's been like this for decades. And
Kyle, I'm going to tell you, knowing about the Grambling deal with Ohio State, we got to give a shout out to athletic director
Scott.
A.B. Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I'm told he did a great deal on it. It was 1.5 because the both bands. Ohio State has a great band, which I kind of forgot about, and then you have the Grambling band coming. They're going to pay for the band experience, and so he was cleared. I mean, Ohio State, they're going to pay for Grambling bands to come up. So, getting 1.5 for that game, football is football. It's clearly that our teams can play these big schools because we had Southern and Grambling playing LSU. And so I just think right now, you got to go in and know how to negotiate these deals. If you don't, you're going to get left behind the 8-ball, Kyle.
So there was some talk about that as well. So AD's got, I think it's 1.5, you said? I thought initially came out to be like 1.1. Okay, 1.5? Okay.
Yeah, because the band, well, it would have been a little bit less, but I'm told now by one of the alums that Ohio State is paying for the band to come, so they're going to clear 1.5 instead of $1 million that, the band would have had to pay for. Well, Grambling had to pay for their band to go, but Grambling's not paying for their band to go. It's Ohio State paying for the band as well, so they're going to bring roughly around 1.5.
Okay, so that kind of equates a little bit to how much UConn was going to initially get, because UConn was the original team that was scheduled to play, and UConn pulled out. And then Ohio State, with great foresight, because this is a historic game, number one. Like you said, two long historic programs, Ohio State, Grambling, never played one another before. In Columbus, Ohio, man, I think I might go up for that one. That's going to be historic.
Yeah, it's going to be historic, and I had a chance to watch because people were talking about Ohio State band. I was like, I never, you hear about.
Oh, yeah. The dot in the I. Oh, yeah. With the drum major and the big tubas. Yeah, man.
So, when you look at Ohio State band and you look at Grambling band, you're like, oh, I see why they paid that. It's going to be a great, and they're going to get the return on investment. It's going to be a sellout game. So.
Yeah. And check this out, man. A lot of people did not see how important that LSU Southern game was. it wasn't because of the football teams. It was because of what? The bands right there in Baton Rouge playing one another. And it's not the first time they did it, right? But playing one another and that debate about who can play neck better, right? That was just, it was crazy, man. Of course, Southern can play.
I was in the attendance because, of course, it was Coach Eric Dooley's first game, but you talking about a major crowd. And shout out to LSU, man, for being, LSU is one of those great SEC historic institutions that they're not afraid to share the wealth. They didn't have to play Grambling. They didn't have to get Southern the money. They could have gave McNeese or ULL the money, but they did. And so shout out to LSU and the Fighting Tigers for doing that. But it was an unbelievable crowd, Kyle, and Southern band rocking and Tiger band rocking. Man.
It was good. It was good. It was good for college football.
Right.
And if you're a college football fan, I think more of those experiences have to keep happening. Of course, this past season, Grambling, same thing. 2 great bands, 2 Steward programs going one another in Louisiana. There was a major significant injury to the young man. I think he's faring well now. But when it looks like when you put 2 of these programs together and one program can benefit from playing the other as well as just having that notoriety across the board, it's great for the whole state of Louisiana in the boot. Yeah, so it's good, man. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back in 2 and 2. All right, Kyle and Mosley of HBCU Legends back here with Coach Daryl Steward. Coach, we have been talking about NILs. We've talked about the check games. We've talked about the ADs needing to get it together. Coach been on y'all ADs. I don't care what you say. Coach been on the ADs and y'all need to get it together. But something interesting happened this past week from our appearance on Ralph Cooper's show on Tuesday, right? Yeah. So on Tuesday, Coach and I, we do a regular HBCU spot on Ralph Cooper's show on KCOH 1230 a.m. in Houston, Texas. And if you guys don't know Ralph Cooper, 55 years in the business, broadcasting legend, Texas Broadcasting Hall of Fame, yada, yada, yada. Right? So Coop made a great point. Where was the marketing for the Texas Southern versus Prairie View game for Labor Day Classic? Right?
Right.
Lo and behold, the very next day, I got 2 marketing campaigns came our way. I kid you not, man. Flyers came out. People are listening, man. People are listening. And I was just rolling because I'm thinking, is that what it takes right now? Is it that athletic departments are listening into media professionals to kind of give them the game plan on how things should go? What do you think, man?
They're definitely listening, Kyle, and I think they're capitalizing on the pointers. That's a big money game, and when you have a Hall of Fame broadcaster saying where the commercials, where the posters, nobody knows anything about the game, then you have so many people that are hungry for those top positions. And so, I used to tell my coaches all the time, every day is an audition. You auditioning for your job every day because somebody wants your job every day. And so you cannot miss out on those big money games. Shout out to A.D. Granger for capitalizing on it.
No. It wasn't at Granger because Texas Southern is not producing this one. It's Prairie View. So that was A.D. Golf AD
Okay,
Golf.
so
Yeah.
the golf for capitalizing on it and getting the game where it needs to be.
Coach, I got Mr. Mosley. We'd like to set up some interviews. I'm like, huh? What? Did I read this email right? and it's not. Look, guys, I'm not trying to put you guys on Front Street, but in the way I am is because I think sometimes SIDs, and I had this conversation with a number of SIDs and communications directors inside of HBCUs. They are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed and overworked, and they don't have the resources. They don't have people supporting them. I think, in my opinion, I would get as many students who want to be in communications or whatever to kind of help us out as much if I was running one of these departments, and have them to be our team to help with some of those administrative areas that just gets overlooked. And sometimes students come up with some great ideas as well that you could possibly go enroll and implement. So those are just some of the things I think it has been missing, because when you talk to people from the University of Texas as well as Texas A&M, those phone banks that the students roll into every day for their work study, when they're calling alumni for money, can you donate? That's serious business, and that's separate from a lot of other activities. And I think these are some of the things that we could possibly help support those SIDs as well as those athletic directors and department heads who are overwhelmed and overtaxed. And I think that's a lot of the issue, man. So there was a time that, people were like, oh, they're just not doing their job. That's not it, man. I just believe that they got so much on their plate, they can't get to it all at one time.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to have to disagree with you right there. Because I've seen it face to face. I've seen the resources that our schools have. Some of our schools in the communication department have their own television stations. When you look at Charles Edmund Alcorn has his own radio station from the communication department there, which has big resources. You look at FAMU, they have their own stations, a big mass communication department. Jackson State, the same. Rob J does a good job utilizing his communication department. And so Texas Southern, I don't think I just think that's an excuse. I think we have to utilize our resources. And let's just face it, you could turn the SID position just like an athletic director position if you have your resources and if you're committed to doing the job. Now, I will agree with you on one person can't do all the sports. And that's the disadvantage that at our schools. You got one person, but, that one person collects all the money, Kyle. And so what do? Do you split your salary up and say, let me get 2 or 3 assistants, and then your salary becomes non-feasible because you're going to need at least, that's SID for our schools, that's a $75,000 to $80,000 position. That's the market value. That's what's going right now. Some of them are not even getting that. But let's just face it, you got to pay people to do the job now. Labor laws are going into effect where you can't really get volunteers anymore. And so we got to just find people who really want to do the job.
See, I try to help you guys, but Coach just slammed it. I try to help, and Coach slammed. And see, y'all can't ever say Kyle T. Mosley wasn't on your side. But it does make a difference who you have in that communications side as well, who is in tuned with what's going on out there. You got some good SIDs. Josh Padilla over at FAMU Mr. Jerome, who just took over at Jackson State University. I'm going to tell you, it's a drastic difference who's in that role.
Right.
Since he just took over, we are getting more communication out of Jackson State than I had ever received before. I'm telling you, man. Josh Padilla, he has even set up after practice when Coach Cozy has been, getting everything up and ready for the preseason, and even having after practice Zooms and things of that nature. That has never been happening before, man. So those two programs I've noticed have done a remarkable job getting people listening, engaged, and getting the word to the media what's happening with their programs. So kudos to those guys, man. Then you got some people been in position for a long time, and it's not happening. And right. I wonder if that is because, again, I've had these conversations, Coach. Some of them feel as though they've been overworked and overtaxed. Okay. All right. Let's move on, man. We got to talk about the game, the featured game of the week for HBCUs. And we talked about Delaware, Hawaii. Before we go to the featured game, Delaware State versus Hawaii. What's your prediction, Coach?
Well, Timmy Chang is the head coach over there. I think it's going to be a good, hard-fought game, but I got Hawaii coming out on top.
And Hawaii is almost a 35-point favorite over Delaware State at this time. I don't see much of a difference into the game. I think the over-under from Vegas is at 58 points. It could be more. I just think it's going to be quite a challenge for the Hornets. But hopefully they're able to give a good run. From Stats Perform, they gave some data. I think the last time, let me get it right, the last time that Delaware State beat an FBS opponent was back in 78 when they beat Akron, Ohio. Yeah, it's been quite a while, man. It's been a number of years. And they beat them soundly. It was like a 50-something to whatever number. So those are some of the things that we need to pay attention to. All right, Coach, it is here. Florida A&M taking on Norfolk State at the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Oh, boy. They've been getting ready for it. They've been having the press conferences. Coach Odems looked slim and trim, ready to take it on, baby. And he was not backing down. He still believes his team has a shot to win. And you echoed that same sentiment earlier. Talk about why this is an important year for Coach Odems at Norfolk.
Well, this is year 3. If I'm not mistaken,
4.
This is year 4. Year 4. I'm sorry. This is year 4. He has to get it done. Norfolk did a lot to get Coach Odems up there. They paid him the big mega deal to draw from Southern University, which was a great institution. He did great things there. So, and when he left, a lot of the Southern fans was upset, but he took the money, and now he has to get his return on the investment, Kyle. The Spartan fans are impatient right now. They want championship. They said, hey, we paid Coach Odems all this money. Now let's get it done. And you can't blame him. He has to win a championship this year, Kyle. And I just think right now with him looking at his team, he's balanced. He's got great players all around the field. I think this is going to be an upset.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the Spartans are going to go in. I think it's going to be close, like a 17-10 win. I think this is going to be an upset game in the making.
An upset. Coach Daryl Steward has gone on record now. I've got it right here on tape. He can't stop. He can't squeeze out of it. He believes that Norfolk will upset the Rattlers. Wow. Okay. Listen to what Jay Walker had to say about this one, man. And Jay spent some time with me on yesterday to talk and preview what's going on with the game.
Norfolk State is 3-8. How are they going to compete with Florida A&M, who won the HBCU National Championship last year, only lost one game on the season? But then when you get closer to it and you dig into the weeds, I think Florida A&M comes in here, and if they think they're going to walk over the Spartans, they got a new thing coming to them. Although Norfolk State was 3-8 a season ago, in like 6 of those losses, they were within a touchdown. And they returned like 18 out of 21 starters on offense. They returned like the two deep, I should say. So they've got a lot of experience. So this is Dawson Odom's best team for state. I mean, they're experienced. All these guys are coming back. They've had a couple more transfers to the portal like everybody's doing now to help their team improve. But the fact is, I was surprised. I mean, they're competitive. Like, we called a game when they got beat by Howard last year. Howard made it to the Celebration Bowl, and they almost ruined Howard's homecoming.
Wow. What do you think about what Jay just said?
Well, I kind of agree with him. You know, Jay Walker knows what he's talking about when it comes to playing the quarterback position. He's played it at the high level. And I just think right now with both teams, well, one team having a new quarterback. Well,
both of them.
Both teams having new quarterbacks. But I'm looking at it from a defensive standpoint. I just think right now the Spartans have a lot. Norfolk State has a lot to showcase on defense more than FAMU. And you got to just face it. Coach Coles is bringing in practically 30 new players. Is a lot of players. Let's just face it. And I just think experience right now is going to play a big part in this game. And that's why I give the nod to Coach Odems.
Well, that's good. All right, 30 new players coming into FAMU, but they keep 55 players. Okay.
Right.
9 starters still are going to be a part of the FAMU squad. But you brought on the defense from Norfolk State. One of the young men that Coach Odems kind of spotlighted was A.J. Richardson at linebacker. And you had that big defensive lineman, Keyshawn Lynch, as well.
All right.
How important is it that you have guys up front, especially along the line as well as the linebacking core, who can help make a difference in case there's some shortcomings on the offensive side?
Well, you hear coaches say all the time that the game is won up front. And you look at Norfolk's defense, they have a massive defensive line that can move, that can use their hands well, that can read and react. And that's what you want out of your defensive front. And then you talk about your linebacker core, you know, your linebacker being the captain on the defense, being the signal caller on the defense, making sure that your line is, your defensive line are in the right gaps. And that's what you want out of an experienced linebacker, putting the defense in the right position to make the play. And that's why I gave the edge to Coach Odems. His defense is sound, and he just has an advantage right now up front. You look at FAMU coming in with a lot of new faces, new quarterback, a couple new linemen, you know. And so when you look at the game right now, it's an even game. But like I said, I give the nod to experience on this. And that's why I think it's going to be a 17-10 ball game.
Yeah. James White was on NFL Sirius Radio, and he said when he played for Bill Belichick, he came up with a number. I think he and Bill Belichick harped on this every week with his team, especially the defense. Games are won 95% of the time because the team wins the turnover battle. Right. And that's why I think it's important. This usually the first few games of the seasons is usually how the defenses are able to turn over that football, man. I saw it last year with Texas Southern and Prairie View. Prairie View down by more than 14 points, and until they intercepted Andrew Body twice, and that stemmed the tide, and the momentum went into the favor for the Panthers, and they came back and they stormed back and they won that game in overtime. So those things are highly important, and as well as Jay Walker just talked about, if FAMU comes in overconfident, because they've been getting all the media hype. Think about this. The reigning champions, the polls have them number one. Everybody's saying they're still number one, even though that Willie Simmons is gone. There's no Jeremy Musa, but they have the new quarterback, Daniel Richardson, who came from Central Michigan, as well as he was at FAU last season. Now, I think the kid, I know, Coach, you don't like kids who are under 6 foot. So, but I think the kid has a lot of poise. He has a good touch on the football. He knows how to be able to even throw down the seam routes. But he had one thing that I noticed, especially when he was at Central Michigan, is that he relied on his receivers to get separation, right? And FAMU last year had those type of receivers. Do they have those type of guys this season?
They do. FAMU is always going to have great receivers, great skilled people. But when you look at the quarterback position, the most important position on the field, can he gel when Coach Odems going to blitz? And can he handle that? This will be his first rodeo in this type of attack. And let's just see if he can hold up to the task at hand, Kyle.
But look, man, Cole, if you watch this kid's highlight, he went against Oklahoma State. And hold on. And Oklahoma State, he threw for 400 plus yards, had one interception, but he brought his team back. It was the defense for Central Michigan that kept giving up the points. It wasn't the offense. And his offense, they put 42 points or 40 plus points on the game, on the Cowboys, right? So therefore, he has that ability if he has the horses, right?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I watched that, and I watched that game and his highlights very closely to see what was going on. Now, let's go on the flip side. New quarterback for Norfolk State. You talk about a new quarterback. Here's a kid coming out of JUCO. He's not coming out. He has never played a Division I game. His name is Jalen Daniels, and he comes into this game, and that's a lot for them to put on this kid. He played at Gordon City Community College last year. He completed 120 out of 210 passes, which is 57%. He only passed for 1,200 yards. He had 9 touchdowns and he had 10 interceptions. Now, is this too much to put on his shoulders?
I don't think so. And when you I don't think so. I think Coach is going to use him to manage the game. I don't think he has to go in and win the game. Whereas when you look at FAMU with the most pressure, on their side of the ball, I think they have to go in and win the game. And so that's why I get the edge to Coach Odems on this, because of the game management. This is going to come down from the game management of both head coaches. Anytime you have 2 new quarterbacks, the game is going to be won by the head coaches. How well they can manage the game and not make the mistake and put it on the quarterback's shoulders and go out there and throw 2, 3 interceptions trying to let them win the game. And so I just think we're going to find out who the best game manager is in this one, Cap.
Yeah. Do you think Cozy is going to come out trying to prove a point?
That's why you took the words right out of my mouth. And then, Kyle, I wanted to share this with you. How big of an impact, notice what I said, how big of an impact losing the great A.D. Sykes before this game? How big an impact will that be? Will the trainers be on time? Will they eat their meals on time? It's a lot going on in FAMU. So let's hope that doesn't have an effect on the game.
Interesting, man. I look at the Norfolk team, and they have 13 players that's returning, that's on the All MEAC preseason team, right? They have the young defensive back Mallory, who is on the 2024 Aeneas Williams watch list. Last year, he was a semifinalist on that watch list. I think against Delaware State, he had the hat trick where he had 3 interceptions in that game, right? Florida A&M has the advantage on the Spartans. And, when you think historically, even when they were in the MEAC, they're 15-3 against the Spartans. But sometimes these type of games, you can throw all of that out the door. It really doesn't mean much, right? And I think Coach Odems looks intent to prove a lot of people wrong. And we've talked about how this is a very important season for him in his career over there on the East Coast. But FAMU looks tough, guys, and I think on paper, they're paper champions right now. That's what I keep on telling people. On paper, now we're here at this point where we need to play the game, right? FAMU is the only Division I team last season when they led the conference defensively and they led the conference offensively in a lot of different categories, man. And they're the first SWAC school to do it in over 25 years since, guess who? Texas Southern back in 2010. I think that was Johnny Cole. Yeah, shout out to Coach Cole on that. Yeah, I know he's going to love that one, man. But Coach, I just got to say, man, this kid, Daniel Richardson, his numbers, he's played in over 40 plus games in Division I against FCS and FBS opponents. He's completed 643 passes for 60%. He's thrown for 7,300 yards, 56 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. That's not a bad ratio.
That's a great ratio.
And I'm just thinking, I think that's one of the reasons why that he got the nod over Junior Maratovic. So I don't know, man. It's going to be who makes those mistakes. I understand where you're coming from.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to tell you like Eddie Robinson used to tell me, son, seeing is believing. So Saturday, we will see. Seeing is believing. The eyes don't lie, film don't lie. And we'll just have to see what the football game does, because it's clearly right now, with a lot of new faces, it's going to be a shocking event on both sides of the ball.
Okay. Look, Coach Odems said, "Behold the green and gold. We're looking forward to put Norfolk State on a platform where we can showcase the greatness of our academic institution, our program that we're so proud of." Yeah, right. I said, all right, Coach, I hear you. He said, behold. Coach Odems right now has a record of 11-23 with the Spartans, and I know he is trying to right the ship We're talking about a national championship coach that hasn't been posting the records that he's noted for. But could this be the season that Coach puts it all together for the Spartans and shocks some people in the MEAC? So we shall continue to keep our eye on that. Tonight's game is going to be at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. So there's no reason why people should be looking elsewhere for the game. It's going to be right there on ABC, guys. And Tiffany Green, as well as Jay Walker, will be in the booth as the announcers for the game. So stay tuned to that one. Right now, the MEAC, they have a 11-6 lead over the SWAC in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. And last two seasons, we had Alabama State as well as Jackson State to win for the SWAC. Can FAMU continue the streak? Coach says no, it's going to be Norfolk. We shall see. We shall see. That Coach just said, you say seeing is believing, right? All right, that's a good one, Coach, man. That's a good one. I don't know, Coach. Are we finished? We got to keep on talking because we can keep on going if we need to, man.
Oh, man, just, wishing our head coaches luck, good luck on next week, man. We always talk about some negative things, and then, when you see them on the streets, they say, Coach, when y'all going to wish us good luck? So you hearing it from us, me and the great Kyle T. Mosley. I wish them all good luck, man. Stay in the lab. And if you start off on one, go back in the lab, make the adjustments that you need to do. And let's just know, man, it's about the student experience. It's about putting a great product on the field for the HBCU fans, man.
Yeah. Next week, we will probably drop a podcast on Thursday, give you guys an earlier preview of what to expect going forward in the first major week of college football, especially HBCU football as well. All right, Coach, go ahead.
You got Alcorn and UAB and Jackson State and UL Monroe, both on Thursday night, Kyle.
Oh, Thursday night affairs. All right, Jackson State. Man, I tell you, guys, be very, very, very shocked to see what TC Taylor is able to kind of put out there. All right, guys, I went through and I'm trying to hurry up and do this. I'm about to drop this article, the most influential and powerful coaches in HBCU football. Coach, if you had to name the top three, who would those be in your mind?
Right now, Trey the Truth Oliver, North Carolina Central. I would have to put Bubba McDowell in there because of what he's done at Prairie View, revitalizing that program, stayed patient, and it's one of the best coaches out there, working with less. And so I just think he'll be my number two. And number three, number three would probably be Coach Odems.
Okay.
So, he's a long tenured of being an HBCU coach right now. I would say Coach McNair, but he's not a head coach. You said head coaches, but those would be my top three.
Okay, so I broke it down into several different categories. The program record from last season. Has this coach ever won a championship, like national championship, division championship, conference championship? Got different ratings on that. And have they had a winning season the past couple of seasons? Have they been recognized by the American Football College Coaches Association? and what was their recruiting class like this past season, as well as the facilities that they're working with, and the preseason polls, how they had people ranked, as well as their media influence. But you threw in a category. I forgot, you just mentioned one thing I may have to consider, but they ranked as this, and this is across the board. This is not even, I haven't even separated them from Division I, Division II. Trey Oliver came in number 1, Chinnis Berry, number 2. Dr. Alvin Parker from Virginia Union, number 3. Dr. Henry Frazier from Virginia State, number 4. Then Larry Scott, Bubba McDowell, Damon Wilson, and get this, Eddie Robinson Jr. didn't come into 8th, and TC Taylor and Eddie George round up the top 10.
Wow. Interesting list.
I know that's going to be a lot of contentions there, bro.
Interesting list because, people can say what they want to say. You got to honor Coach Maynard's championship at Alabama A&M. Mm-hmm. When people talk about him, he can flash that SWAC championship ring. And so, do you throw him in there?
Yes. He's a part of that as well. They got a lot of some honorable mentions like Cozy.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. When I did the rankings of Cozy was right there, 11, 12. Maynard was there at 11. Odems 13th. So I think what's hurting like Maynard and Odems is the most recent progress of the programs and their lack of media presence. They haven't really been on the media out there, but that's a couple of the instances that really hurt them. And what really kind of stemmed the tide for like Dr. Frazier and Damon Wilson, he's also in there, right? These guys had Coach of the Year recognition from Africa. That really helped them out. If you don't have that recognition, I don't see how that's
right. I agree.
So I had to throw that in. Terrence Graves and Mickey Joseph, Alonzo Hampton's rising, Raymond Woody's rising, Chris Dishman, you're just starting. So a lot of these coaches are just getting their programs up and rolling. So everybody can't be number 1, guys. But Trey the Truth Oliver, number 1, Chinnis Berry 2. And if we had to just go Division I, then it would be Larry Scott, Bubba McDowell, Damon Wilson, Eddie Robinson Jr., TC Taylor, Eddie George. Okay?
God, I just want you, I know you got Coach Chinnis Berry on speed dial. I would love to hear that pregame speech, man. We can ask Coach Chinnis Berry, we can get all access to that pregame speech, man. I would love to hear it.
Matter of fact, we are interviewing him next Wednesday. On Black Sports Insiders. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we can get that pregame speech, man. We can listen to it, man. Oh my God.
That's something to ask him about. He may give that to us, man. That would be pretty cool. I know we went over a little bit over, guys, but these are some great topics that we really needed to kind of focus on. And Coach, it's going to be a great season. And I think the schedules are going to line up pretty good. I know a few teams have some tough stretches, but that is a part of football. Every game is going to be a clash, and you have to realize that possibility. Will Coach Odems tonight and the Norfolk State Spartans be able to pull up the upset over FAMU and ruin James Colsey's debut? Coach believes that is the case. We shall see. Tune in tonight on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ABC. Coach, how can the fans follow you on the World Wide Web?
Well, as the great Kyle T. Mosley just said, check us out on HBCU Legends, the podcast. You can download us. I want to thank all our fans for doing that. And also on Tycoon League 2, the number 2 at gmail.com. Hit me up in time. Hit me up and let me know the results after the game. I don't know about Kyle, but I'll be up probably to 12, 1 o'clock hearing fans' results, hearing comments. And always, we love you. And remember, we'll have a present for you at the end of the season.
What you mean you don't know about me? I'm always up. I'm always writing. I'm always putting out the content for HBCU. Baby, what you don't know, you better know. But nah, I'm clowning. Yeah, I'll be up, guys. I forgot to announce that Cam Peterson from Southern University, the New Orleans Saints, signed him this past week. That was a big signing for the Saints. He tried out for them for the rookie minicamp. He also had a tryout right before training camp. The Saints had a couple of significant injuries that went down on that defensive line. So they brought Peterson in. They kept an eye out open for him, and kudos to him. He has his chance. I know it's less than a few days. He's going to be placed in this game coming up at home in the Superdome, and he's going to have a chance to be able to earn a spot, at least earn a spot on the practice roster, something for the New Orleans Saints. So that's a good look for the New Orleans Saints, who also still have Mark Evans out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, as well as Shaq Davis on the squad from South Carolina State. All right, Coach, don't forget, you guys can go to hbculegends.net to be able to read all of the articles, as well as be able to listen to the podcast, or you could be able to follow me at KTMOZE on X, which people call Twitter, or used to be called Twitter. And you can also go to HBCU Legends on all of our social media platforms. Now, on IG, we are HBCU Legend, not Legends. Someone got Legends, and they're not doing anything with that account. I'm just saying. So it's HBCU Legend. And one thing also, guys, there are a lot of pretenders out there. Some people are pretending to be HBCU Legends on Facebook. That is not the case. If you don't see my name attached to any of the postings or anything to that nature, that's not us. All right. Just want to let you know that is not us. We will drop our next podcast on Thursday to be able to preview the week 1 schedule and slate of games that will have fans ready to rock and roll for next season. Oh man, this is it. We are here. I think it was this summer has just flown by so fast, Coach.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's here.
Because we were just talking just recently. Oh man, we got 60 days. It seemed like it was so far away. So, but I'm happy it's here. I'm excited, and I know people are excited as well. So, guys, go and follow us. Also, don't forget, go to our HBCU Legends YouTube channel. Subscribe. Mash up the likes. I got some great content dropping today with the interview I had with Jay Walker, as well as Stephen J. Gaither, the creator and managing editor over at HBCU Game Day. So, all right, Cole, thank you very much. You guys have a safe weekend, have a fun weekend, and enjoy HBCU football that will be on tonight at ABC. Thank you very much. Take care.